Now then, boys, we're back on Apollo Justice. Last time we cross-examined Valant the first time, and we're still doing it. I only got into the middle of it, so let's just skip. There's rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi.
It's easy to explain in this situation, Air Judge. For example, take our debut hit single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. The debut single is only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. What a ripoff. Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus Pocus requires admirable focus. And in the time of death, determined by the doctor, there was an incontrovertible truth.
Very well. The prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise times, and we can expect the cross-examiner to require the same level of precision.
I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus, and this case so clearly demands.
Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time of the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. 11:20 p.m. Can you prove that's when you arrived? Alas, such a feat may be beyond even the great Valant, for there was no one in the room but Magnify, and he was departed after a fashion. I have here defendant Zach Gregory's sworn deposition. I snuck in his room that night at the appointed time. It was 10 minutes before I left the room, and the victim was still alive. The time indicated by the suspicious Zach was 11:05 p.m.
Exactly, which means the witness could not have entered the room before 11:15, because his partner was still in the middle of his crime.
You see, someone did their arithmetic homework.
You see, the defendant himself has corroborated the witness's testimony. No problem. I see here's a grand contradiction of that testimony.
Was that a question?
I guess it was. You have been warned, alright? Baseless remarks will be penalized.
Well put, Prosecutor Gavin. Oh, and Mr. Wright, here's my answer to your question. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, and then called in the doctor.
You walk in on a murder, and the first thing you do is shoot the clown?
The disciple does what the disciple must. My mentor's request, without reason, had caused for me a surfeit of sorrow. For what would I, Valant, be now without him? May the soul of Magnify the Great find greater peace above. This I muttered to myself as I pulled that lonely trigger.
In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we've already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Air Attorney.
May I remind you that baseless remarks will earn penalties. Proceed with that in mind.
Yes, Your Honor.
The doctor examined the body before the police arrived.
Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death?
Why, yes, I believe he screamed, "My God, he's been shot in the head!" Doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I probably would have screamed the same thing.
And I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at that horrid sight. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned investigation? In any case, I believe this is nothing more than you've already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Your Attorney.
We've already done this. Shut the fuck up. Shh. Ah, that doesn't contradict the piece of evidence I had in mind. Damn. He was quite clear about the time of death. 11:10 p.m. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually only get an estimated time of death. True. I'm not sure I've heard of a verified time of death. Magic revels in making the complex appear simple, but the reality is opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction. I see another person has done their arithmetic homework. The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim magnified gravity schedule. Right, let's try that again because I'm so unbelievably tired. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim magnified gravity schedule. Every night at 11 p.m., Magnify took an IV drip for 30 minutes. I can see the IV bag right there, yes. Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end. Oh, the needle's been removed. Doubtlessly it fell out when he was shot. Was it though? I don't think that's how it works. You get shot in the head, it doesn't blow an IV out of your arm. Not quite. Nearly. That would seem to be the case. When the IV... Well, no. When the IV drips, the needle comes out is not what he said. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips. You could just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the remaining amount in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. And so it was. When I, Valant, entered that room, 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. And this is proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Well, seeing how this is the biggest clue we have at the time of death, I'd say it's very important. Agreed, it would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power for arithmetic. Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. The water of life springs out eternally. It's usually the details they add on there, the contradictive. Is that even a word? It is a word now. That's not relevant. No. That hasn't come up yet. It has been washed and shows no sign of use, but it's empty. I have a hunch.
Objection!
The hunch was wrong. Did you guys see IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did I spy a rose, drooping and wilted. It stored the discarded IV needle. Knocked from the vein by the force of the shot, luckily for you. If that IV had not been there, why, you might have been a suspect. And indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed, even today I would have proudly upon my suspect self. For it always without fail brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valant won their first Magicians Grand Prix. Yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians. I was adorned in its attire then too, and our trophy, a bust. Ha! What a day that was. My lucky colour, yes indeed, and that IV too. I say it. I think 'twas hued especially for me, Valant. That does seem to be the case indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony? Contradiction. Because it is green, so it's not yellow. Certainly sounds like your lucky colour has brought you plenty of luck. But not this time. Mr. Valant, your lucky colour betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honor, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence. What? Please recall my warning at the beginning of this cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I do hope this latest accusation is well-based. Don't worry, I've got all your bases right here. Very well, let's hear the defense's claim. Where is your evidence that contradicts what Mr. Valant has told us? The crime scene tell us all, Your Honor. The photo of the crime scene? All this talk of colour has me yearning for black and white, clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Sarah Wright, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you, it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What in this photo contradicts the witness's testimony? Oh my god! Valant Gramier, let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kind of takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Yeah. Yes, there is. Decidedly wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. What's this? Confusion, doubt. Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy? Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valant. Look at that IV bag. What is this? What foul magic? It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow, and I'm afraid no magic was involved in taking this photograph. Ah, Alakaz, no! Oh no, what does this mean? This is some kind of mistake. Yes, Prosecutor Gammon, your witness's mistake. Okay, they are hard. Phoenix, shut up, mate. You ain't the great fucking ace attorney, mate. Like, sure, he's won quite a few cases, but there's no way you can say, I suppose there's no substitute for experience. After nearly every case, you had to have someone bail you out. Roland Grammar, as you remind us several times, your lucky colour is yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, this contradiction can mean only one thing. And thank you, almost had me. I see your true colors now. Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Something you would like to tell us, Prosecutor Gammon? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? Because the witness has made no mistakes.
I agree, at a glance, the IV liquid does appear sort of greenish yellow. But I assure you, the liquid itself is quite yellow.
Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell from the photo, it's green! Oh my god! Yes, but what color is the IV bag itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook? It looks like, I'd want to say light blue? Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put a yellow liquid in the blue bag, and you got green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color. I see. Your explanation does have a ring of truth to it.
Objection!
As I thought. There's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale, but you just proven something rather grave. For you, that is. Grave. The liquid in the IV is yellow. Yes. But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow? Oh. Alakazam! I would have preferred Corner 2004, but this one's okay. Order, order, order! Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what? I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valant Gramier, has testified that the IV liquid was yellow because... From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he's seen it before. But not inside the blue bag we've seen this photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag. I suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear what all this means. Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor. I'm afraid I find nothing, so what if he knew the IV liquid's color? Please, they're getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans, yeah? IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin? I remember it well. However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag. Wait, I know. An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. I'm right. Right? As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. I like the sands to it. Hourglass IV liquid enters a patient's body, at which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of my liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. Let me get this straight. Alright. You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow. Now wait, I said wait! How might an amateur such as myself essay to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat? He has a point, amateurs. I at least would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag. You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added IV liquid to tell at the time of death. I'm tired. These fairy tales lacking evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth? Valant Gramier, I'm afraid your magic won't save won't serve you well in a life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting? Magic relies on props. Now, props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All you have to do was work a little magic, and the prop was... Perhaps my hunch was right in a different context. The victim's syringe? It's a perfect prop for magically increasing IV trick. And easy enough for an amateur to use. You know, I think this kind of fixed this sprite for me. I didn't really like the confidence sprite because I thought he just looked far too goofy. But I think it's kind of been fixed somehow. I don't know, I guess it's the new art style. What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had a syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Von Gramier, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. Once that you could manipulate it well. Alakazam! It must be really uncomfortable being a magician with all those rabbits and doves inside of your outfit. It's Coke time. I'm more of a Pepsi guy, but Domino's only does Coke, so it is what it is. Pardon me. I'm very sorry. I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that while there is a doubt to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven. And that brings our trial to a close for today. Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much-needed investigation. I see there are no objections. Court is adjourned. Truly, there is no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise: underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet from out under you. In a way you never, ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking. What's he talking about? You say the witness used a syringe to manipulate the level of IV liquid. But there's no proof. There's no proof he didn't do it either. Yes, quite true. Huh? Is it living one? Nor was this witness quite as divisive as I'd hoped. This I admit, after all. Why linger in the past when the future holds so much? You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin? Prove her, Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less. What's this? This is the victim Magnify Gramier's diary. Diary? After going into the hospital, Magnify began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. Seems intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death. Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request? Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun at 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we? Tonight's IV is in, maybe the last I leave the rest of them. The first should come soon. This journal may end here, or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand All that is left to mine is to lay down this pen. This court accepts this into evidence.
Read the very last part with particular care. This journal may end here or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his, he refers to our defendant, Zack Grabrier.
That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor, after all.
But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here or may go on. It may go on. Magnify Grammar intended to write again. That is, if Zack Grabrier didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on. It ends. Because Magnify's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Zack Grabrier.
Order. Prosecutor Gavin, are you certain that Magnify Grabrier wrote this?
There is no mistaking his handwriting.
Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnify did intend to continue his diary. Yet, if his diary ended here, which plainly it did...
Pardon me. Very sorry. And the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Zack Grabrier. Well, now you like me now, her, right? Still too green for your tastes,
He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with this person's evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking, but put together with its evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case. If there is evidence like this, the trial's over. Here's time for you to show him something.
I don't want to. Because if I present what they want me to present, which I'm assuming it is, then I get disbarred. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence.
What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary?
It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment.
Very well, please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary if you show me the court. That leaves covers what I have. You have something a little more decisive. That's not a good look for us, is it? First, take a close look at this diary. Note that a page has clearly been ripped out.
What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all.
That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page.
Lucas, I don't believe it!
Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnify Grabrier. That's the defense's position.
Wait, let me see that. Martin Sam Hill? Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary.
Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnify's diary. Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, Herr Attorney? The diary continued after the first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zack Grabrier left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor.
Montgomery. Oh, Montgomery. No. No! Rabbits.
The handwriting too matches that on the other pages. This is without a doubt the genuine article.
It's not.
Order!
But wait, that's impossible! That old man couldn't have written that.
Objection!
Finally. Ignore that. Please. That was worse than glitchy voice crack. Please, I'm only young. You just couldn't resist, could you, right? Is this what? Presenting solid evidence? Here, Judge.
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin?
My Honor requests that we put the current cross-examination on hold. The prosecution would like to call a new witness.
But Prosecutor Gavin, this evidence returns the current witnesses.
I ask you to put it on hold. Please, my new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes. No more. I promise, Your Honor.
Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this?
Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway. So might as well be sooner.
Then, this is highly irregular. We will put the court cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprised witness to the courtroom.
I had a bad feeling just then. I wrote that page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around.
Holding trial with no audience is the first. Even for me, Prosecutor Gavin.
I beg the court's understanding. But I have to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony. A judiciary deal? The details of his testimony bring us some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain this information to this room.
Very well. And you are the witness, I gather? Oh, yes, sir.
State your name and occupation for the record.
My name's Drew Misham, and I'm a painter. A painter? And you're somehow related to this case? No, well, not per se.
I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? When you say Misham, but whatever. Do you know what this is?
Oh, yes. I know it well.
How's that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before?
Oh, yes. I mean, I made it.
You... what? You made it?
Yes. You might call it one of my works.
The prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Gramier.
Legal evidence?
I initiated an investigation and found this witness, a painter to the world at large. Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words. Forgeries?
Well, sir, we are to understand that this page here is a
fake. Prepared by a certain defense attorney.
Objection!
Hold it. I didn't prepare this evidence.
Objection!
The attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume? What is he saying? It makes no sense.
After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix, right? Hold on, I need a screenshot.
Witness, Mr. Mission Bottle. Who requested this forgery? Who was your client? That, I don't know.
What?
Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items they want, and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contract with them.
Objection!
But there's no proof this is a fake.
It's a fake.
Huh?
To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my box. I can say without a doubt, this is mine. Mr. Wright, you have just presented the legal evidence to this court. My court.
It was careless of me. That's all I can say. Oh, old boy. Here. What's this? I don't know, I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. It was all a trap. A fatal trap.
Mr. Wright,
Yes?
do you have an explanation for yourself?
If I did, would the court hear it? That's so fucking cold.
Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime, and presenting it in court, a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney.
God, there's so many screenshots. Fatal too, perhaps, for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one.
Objection!
Your Honor, wait. I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime. But you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual. Wow. He took the fall for it. He full on put himself on the line for Zach Grummery. Damn.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Your Honor? Another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office had received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? I even gave you a chance. Too bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself.
I see no need for further discussion on this matter. Special witness dismissed. Mr. Attorney,
Yes?
can I ask your name?
Phoenix Wright.
Mr. Wright. I've seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright.
But yeah, he's got balls of steel, look at him!
Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, this trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must...
Your Honor?
Yes, Mrs. Zack? There is one thing I wish to make clear. Today in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible. I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you. Except tell me, how do you plan on announcing a verdict when your defendant does not exist? doesn't exist? What are you talking about? I am talking about this!
Mr. Enigmar? The defense escaped. Find him, quick!
Bailiff, close all exits from the building! On the double, he must not be allowed to escape!
Right in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shadi Enigmar, aka Zach Grammy, did not just escape from the court. He literally, unbelievably, vanished. Right before the bail's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day.
This is a Grammy miracle! Ha 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 ha!
Oh. This is the reminiscence theme I like. I don't know, it's just got such a special aura to it. Like, it's not... I don't know, it's weird. Now then, boys, we're back, except I have to be a bit more quiet. Anyway, as I was trying to say, there's just a weird aura to this one, where it's not sad like the other recollection themes, it's just ominous. Like, I don't know, it's just got a weird thing to it that I really, really like over other ones. Anyway, no verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zach Grammy vanished, along with him for all eternity. The mysteries that remain behind were all solved, however, but not until 7 years later. Well, that's how it happened. This doesn't really work well for me. Like, come on. Edgeworth was guaranteed to have forged evidence in Turnaround Sisters. He didn't, like, it is fully confirmed in Rise from the Ashes, but he's never penalised for it. He's never disbarred for it. Manfred von Karma never got disbarred for it. Anyway, I'll be back.